Hello, I'm Brenda, Power Medicine Woman. So I was able to get a new camera. The only thing is I don't know if you guys can hear me. And whether or not it's working. Oh, yay, Robin! Oh, that's good. So I don't know how the voice is. Well, I'll have to, work with this and see if you can hear me. Hi, Lisa. And, it's definitely, oh, yay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Monday. Yes. Oh, yes. Share, hit love, get a card for sharing, get a card for love, liking it, get notified. So I had to go through a different format. Okay, so I got a bigger screen. Hi, Amy. So I'm trying to decide. So because it's bigger, the camera's up higher, and so just realized I'm not sure what's missing. I see all these little hearts. So that's different when you hit love up there versus down there, I think. Hi, Steve. Patricia, look at all these wonderful people. Okay, so it's definitely a new camera. And I found a computer guy here. I believe in letting people know. His name is Steve, and he's a PC repair bloke here in Adelaide. And so he's been helping me out a lot. I have a new computer, but that's in my other room. That studio's not set up. But he has helped me out by helping me get to this next stage, and I'll have a different, computer that's just for the studio room, so that hopefully, right now this computer works. It's just that it's slow and it's ready to die, and so all the things are coming together now. This new camera, I mean, oh my God! Finally, because of people paying for their readings, 11/11, I saved up some money and I got myself a nice camera, and it looks pretty good. Now you can see more flaws. Let's just admit that one. So it's like, oh my God, I got to learn how to put makeup on. I haven't done it in what? Shoot, man. I wore it in high school and, here and there, and never really bothered. Now it's like, kind of need to. That's okay. So the screen is definitely bigger. I'm loving that I can see names now. And I'm glad that people want me to do this. And it's interesting because, I don't want to talk about my struggles. I have no problem sharing my struggles, but that's not who I am anymore. I don't identify with that. It's not about suppressing. It's not about overcoming. It's not about forgetting. And that's very important for you to understand, because when you overcome, the root of it's still there, and the program's still there. The emotions are still there. And when you suppress it, cut it out, remove it, and so you don't have to feel it. Why do we do this? Because we have to cope, manage, deal, pacify. And we haven't really been taught how to do those things, to really know how to cope. Okay, resolve is what I use. Manage. Why do we have to manage? And it's interesting because the old way of doing things, you had to have a major bitch slap before you changed your life, before change can take place. And to see that you need light, you need dark. Okay, so you would never turn the light on if you didn't have dark. And you'd never know about love if you didn't have the opposite. And these are the laws of the universe. And so what I've noticed is that, oh my gosh, we have to really learn how to cope by having the worst thing happen to us. And if you don't, then you have all of these devices that help you cope, manage, deal, and pacify. But that's to take care of the thought processes that get out of control with the emotions. And it's interesting that I've been in this so long that a part of me, I just automatically heal. I mean, the other day it was like, I had a command when I was a little kid. And that command, which was interesting because it controlled this part of me that I had no idea. So when a trigger would occur, I'd automatically go in that response. And what was interesting was I was feeling like I couldn't do something. And I felt the restriction. I thought, oh, this is good. This is good. I don't have to have a bitch slap because I'm learning to recognize it when it's a limitation. And I not only made that, but I'm learning to recognize it with the feeling. If it isn't love, okay, and people go into indifference, but it's it's so much different than indifference. It's a different feeling altogether. So when you go into this state of automatic response, and that emotion or non-emotion, which should be addressed and healed, will take you to that next stage of your growth. And again, I realized I don't have to go through the bitch slap. Yeah, I don't. So I've learned how to look and read life with listening to spirit so deeply that I can hear it on a whisper, which means it's out of alignment with love, just for a second. And it's like my reaction, my response, my feelings. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't have to. And then it's like I can learn how to do it through laughter, through fun, through, oh, wow, intentionally showing up. So the major importance is when this begins to happen and you begin to take that next step. Now, a lot of people are not where I'm at. That's okay. You can get there because I've done it. And that's what I'm here for, is to show you that you can do it. You don't have to have the past own you. Hey, Angela. Haven't seen you in a long time. But you don't have to be stuck in your past, your struggles, your pain. They don't need to own you. And you don't need to have a bitch slap to change you. You just have to learn a few things. And the more that you intentionally decide to learn them, the more you're going to be able to move and to work with spirit, to work with your heart, to work with your gut, to work with your true identity. You grow. And again, a lot of people haven't seen what I saw. Look at life through a mirror. You don't notice it, but you will. Again, it's just these little steps, and you don't have no idea you're being controlled by your emotions. That's the sad part. And what I noticed is that the more I use resolving tools, which is the thing that I want to express to you guys, it's not just getting the information. Getting the information is sometimes an epiphany in itself, and it can do a major healing in itself. But when you get that, you can actually change your decisions that you created when you were younger. You get to develop your beliefs instead of say, hey, that was my mother's, my father's, my church's, my schools, my district. You get to define more you, and it's not about what's right and wrong. Okay, so this person's right and wrong is different than this person's right and wrong, and who's right? Get in touch with your heart, get in touch with spirit, learn to be more than just ego. And so it has nothing to do with religion. Religion is that step that you need that get you closer to God. But the more you allow yourself to remove that over-identification with matter of emotions, the more you can hear spirit, the more you can get in touch with your soul, the more you can be guided by the one you go to church for. You know, you go there because you're looking, and when you start to find it, you get to commune with God anywhere and always. And you don't have to feel like you're being punished or any of that, because you're not. You learn that you learn to attract things by what you're attached to, what you know, how you define it. That's why it's important to find more about who you are. So before I go any further, the sound. I had problems with the older computer because the fan is so loud, and I've tried to get it to quiet down. Testing this, I can't really test without going live. So I called people. In some places you heard it and then you didn't. And then when you have that program pops up, I heard it. So just going to take a couple seconds. You tell me whether or not you hear a fan or strange noises. Just then let me know, okay? So it's different from my angle because I'm in the room. And, you know, so any type of feedback would be great. And Robin said, listen to what people say. If it doesn't feel right, look in a different direction. What works for one doesn't mean it was right for you. That is absolutely true. And you know what? This is what they call this, the catalog of life. And I call it the kaleidoscope, okay, of perspectives, because you're beginning to learn different levels of yourself. And when you get new information that comes in, you get to develop a different perspective. Now, I traveled. Wow, did that change what I thought I believed and my values? And, you know, I had gone to college, but that didn't change me. It was when I traveled. And you respect that soul that comes to you. Now, what's interesting is I've always loved saying that word. Some people will take it. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Oh, thank you, Angela. And so where was I at? Spirit just dropped me. Oh, isn't that interesting? Spirits are coming in too, but something was important there. Ah, yes, the traveling. Yeah, I love that word, interesting. And as you get to bond with other people, you get to find out what that word means to them. I was in a conversation and I was watching, how I came to this word was I was watching a cartoon called Little Bear that with my kids. And he's like, how interesting. And he would look at it from this angle to where he was intrigued to learn more, to open up his mind. And so I took it and I thought, yes. And then my spirit just took off. And then one time somebody brought over a casserole and I've never tasted it before. And so they were explaining to me, I said, ooh. So I ate it. I was like, oh, how interesting. Because I tasted flavors I never thought, when you combined it, you wouldn't really taste it. And I said that, and the husband started attacking me as if I was saying I was, being insulted by it. And I'm like, but I'm not. And I tried to explain myself. Oh, you're just backing out of it. You're trying to cover. And I'm like, and I tried to explain with that word. And I thought, no, it's okay. Let them hate me. I don't care. And then I had another person that the more close you get and the way they do things, I thought that was so cool. And you only know your way. And then when you get married, you find out their way. But people do it in such different ways and you learn. And if you watch, you can start to incorporate stuff in your world. It's not just theirs. They don't own that. And I was asking about Christmas and I go, ooh, how interesting. How do you do that? And it wasn't trying to ask it that my way's better, but the film that the person was looking through, they took offense. And I thought, wow, it is interesting. And so I was like, okay, I can learn from this. Yes, Lisa says the same thing. People take offense with that word, and you begin to really notice that when the more you're talking to open people, I'm not trying to say we own it, okay? I just been observant. Because I took that on of like, I want to know more. I want to grow from the spot that I have. I want to know what's out there. I want to know. You know, so it can hurt. Yeah. So anyways, the screen is much bigger. I can actually get to see some names. I like that. So you begin to develop who you are. Okay? The screen is so much bigger, I gotta stretch my eyes over so I don't lose the time. Again, hit love up above, and you get a card. You hit, because I realized, see, on my screen I don't see it, but I was watching some show the other day and it had these buttons that I don't get to see that you guys get to see, and they were showing love, like, you know, and all that, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know those are there, because on my screen I don't see it. So when you hit love, I'm thinking you're hitting the like and love button up above, so that when I see it, you know, I can give you a card. So when people were hitting the love button, I was like, oh, that's cool, and the number didn't change. So it took me a while to figure that one out. But that's how you grow. That's how you learn. This is the kaleidoscopes. This is the deeper inner stuff that you do. So yeah, people just did it. And I don't understand how sometimes I see people's faces and then just big hearts. But I think those are the people that send it. Oh, talk about brighter. Yeah. And it's got a light adjustment. Oh my God. I was so, I mean, my husband says, okay, don't be buying crap. You know, so we went to a store, and here in South Australia, you know, it's so different than shopping in Michigan. And so it's like, okay, so then all of a sudden the package didn't really say too much. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to buy the same issue. Because somebody gifted me a camera which doesn't work for what I need it for. And it's like, oh, I love that robin. Okay, I'll tell you in a second. But anyways, so like I said, every time somebody did a paid reading, I put that money aside. I said, okay, I'm going to get this camera, and I'm going to get it. And I have to say, I'm not disappointed. The program to be able to do things, I'm going to be able to make my classes now, because I want to do the classes in a video format to some degree, and then PDF format, and then live format to be able to do it. I just got to get me a chair now. Spirits are coming in. One of the things that people say, well, how do you develop this? And it's not me. That's the first thing you got to understand. I had a client this weekend, and people were telling her right and wrong. Pendulums are wrong. Talking to spirit is wrong. You're talking to the devil, blah, blah, blah. And I says, no. I says, you understand, this is their experience. This is their perspective. This is what they've been taught. Have they really got into doing it? And it got inside their head. You know, it was like a bad seed. It's like power of suggestion. I said, you need to take it a little bit further. I says, and so then as I'm trying to explain it to her, I realized that's what you guys need to learn, is how to go and communicate. And Spirit has taught me so much. If you only go to the astral realm, you're going to get mixed reviews of spirits that are going to come through. You don't want to go there. Okay, you don't want to go there. You want to go onto the seventh plane. You want to go in just right connected to source. And you're communicating. And then you get to come down and communicate safely, okay? Really, it's not even having, and pray and fear. No, it is this dome of protection. It's like they have to go up to God before they can communicate to me. That's the only thing I can tell you is, and when the ugly stuff that people are afraid of, it's like they can hover on the outside, but they can't go up. And so because they have to hover on the outside, I don't really have to entertain them if I don't want to, and I don't have to communicate. I don't have to react in fear, because I know in my heart that I'm protected. And Spirit has taught me how to do pendulum work, how to communicate and look and read all of these things that are the energy patterns. So to me, it was exciting to learn. Have I had bad experiences in my past? Yes. And I've had great teachers that taught me how to get out of it. Because all it was based on the power of suggestion of fear. It's like, oh. And then you take it higher. You learn to listen to a different vibration. You learn to communicate in a different way. But you have to resolve those decisions, those beliefs, and those experiences that says that that's evil, that's wrong. Because you're going to always come up against what you believe. Your values will always show you, because they are the container that help create reality. And the more you begin to see within that space the limitations, the mirror, the restrictions, the more you over-identify with matter through ego, then that's going to help you understand more of what you're calling in, what it is you're attracting. And the way that they were defined, you have to decide whether you are really going to be taking their advice if they've never experienced it, or if that experience was secondhand. It's like, what is that? I can't remember, there's a name for it, but you tell one secret to the first person and 100 people later, that secret is so distorted. How can you even know it's the actual truth? So it's important to really resolve those fears. Okay. Now, what am I looking at? They keep coming in, and there's balloons. Somebody's having a birthday over in real life, or an anniversary. I think it's more, well, I just see a balloon of a love heart. Congratulations. Well, this one, I think somebody had a baby. And then over here is a birthday. So they're celebrating something that's happened in your life. It's like, oh, another soul comes through. Yay, you made it. Good job. And to a birthday, it's like, oh, gosh, yeah, keep going, keep going. So they're really showing me, and I asked right before I began, who would like to show up today to, say hello? And didn't know how that was going to be. Oh, look at all these wonderful. The telephone game, Steve. Leon. Oh, hello. Yes, I'm having a great day. I'm just going to take a second to look at everybody. Oh, nice to see you again too, Julia. Danny. Oh, yes, you like that. I think it works. Okay. Now, somebody's gone to a cemetery just recently, because like a pet cemetery. And the reason I say that is because they show me a pet, they show me a cemetery, and they said pet cemetery, not the scary movie. So the animals are just like, they're all gathering, they're all playing, they're all having fun. So there's just still these group of people that are coming in. Like I said, they get to, oh, I saw a leg. They get to just stay on the outside of that bubble. And Robin says, I have been looking at a page called Spooky Hollow Tours, and he does spirit connections with an EPV. One he thought was dangerous, but with more in time, he was worked out as it was trying to help him with history. Now, see, that's the thing. That was the one thing, my second major teacher that I had, and she goes, now stop. Why is it that you have to come and meet everything with fear first? Because when you do that, you attract the fearful stuff. You will judge the spirits on the other side, and you judge them harshly. And I was like sitting there like, oh, you know what? You're right. So changing that definition, and I went through my higher self, and there's all in the beginning. Yes, I've gone through the whole rigmarole, and they're all important: connecting up, grounding yourself, protecting yourself. But And when you get to that vibrational energy state, then you start hearing your ancestors. You start hearing, and it's not just ancestors of your bloodline. I was a medicine woman in my past life. I mean, that had came through so strongly. And I've not done this just once. I've done this many times around. You know, I remember being in that Atlantis Lemurian stage. That one confused me at first because it showed blips, and that's when they told me, oh, you've done this in dimensional stages. And I was like, oh, that's why nothing kind of makes sense, because it's a dimensional. This world will be different than this world. And then I just said, okay, Spirit, show me. And the books would appear, people would appear. It was beautiful. I mean, it was literally beautiful. Aw, thanks for the compliments. See, I get to still read them, and I'm still giving anybody that, like I said, shares to groups and things on your walls. And if I can see them, you'll get a card. And if I don't see them and you tell me you share, you know, I have to trust. And so I give a card. And new people, I don't know, half of them know it, but I'll give them a card. When Spirit wants to connect, all of a sudden it's like 4 or 5 hours later, like, wait, what? But an hour and a half video takes forever to do. Oh, now it's raining sparkles. What's that all about? Teaching is important because it allows for people to grow spiritually. As I get into this arena of communicating, a lot of people think that, oh, it's just readings. I had somebody sent me, hey, you could do this type of reading. And it was a guy stripping down to his little G-string, and he was giving readings. And I thought, huh, that's a selling technique. No, it won't work for me. But people are, and then the more you look and the more you watch, it's like, I don't think I'm just a reader, because the messages that you are meant to get is about helping you evolve. And some people out there are really good, and sometimes you just need a card, which Spirit has taught me. Like, I will give you a card, but Spirit picks the card. I don't. I'll go along. I set up this system because I've got like 20 decks, and I'll ask, what do you want? And then Spirit will say, I want this deck, it wants this card, and then I give it to you. And then people will write me back and say, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. And I realize that's stages. So when I'm reading, sometimes it's what's happening right now, which is like Leon and Trina, and I can't remember the daughter. But anyway, that family, everybody was in the past, and then there was the now, and it's like, huh. So I'm writing a list, when I'm giving a reading, should it be in now, should it be in the past? Because sometimes when what's happening now will always be your past, because it's based on what you're attracting in. Okay. Why are you having this experience? What is this projection all about? Because it's not about blaming, and it's not about just being ego. It's so much more than that. And all of a sudden I just got distracted by something. Teresa Perkins says that it was my friend's birthday today, and I did a practice animal communication for her chat with one. Oh, which went awesome. That celebrated for me. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, Spirit will always, when you think you knew what you want to say, then Spirit can teach you a whole another thing. See, and that's good. I'm glad to hear that what I'm saying and what they're bringing through can help you greatly. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I like to do 1.5-minute reads. Some people are just used to cards. Now, I'm not really much into reading cards. What was it they wanted to do? they were showing me all different ways, like incorporating, like I could do one video just on learning to teach you how to shift the energies in the body, so that if you got a headache, you find out, what you can do. Now there's a whole other process of muscle testing and finding it, and then there's other healing tools that you can do to help change the feeling. Then there's the emotional aspects of understanding. There's all these different things that had come through. Clear your mind. They keep saying clear your mind. I don't know if they're saying me. Are you saying me clear my mind? No. Somebody out there is so frazzled because they are, why? Because their interaction with the environment, because I can't stop picking up other people's thoughts. Yes. Okay. Let me tell you about this. A lot of people have been coming to me lately, and it'll be the energies of the planet, because Mother Earth is shifting. Her heartbeat is spiking, and she's just alive. And the water that runs through the ley line, the energies, all of these different kind of energies on the planet have been named after people, and those energies can affect you. Now, the thing that has been showing up consistently has been ley lines with vortexes and portals and things, and they literally will come through your space. And the importance of that is that you need to work with your environment, and sometimes you need to use crystals and stones and helps with the energies, so it doesn't have to go through you. But if you're unable to do any of this, you need to understand that you're made of energy. You have an aura. The biggest thing you can do would just be what Donna Eden would say, connecting heaven and earth. Now, the name of that changed, which is, if some of you are aware of, what do they call that? The Mandela effect. And certain things will just change, and you won't know it. And that's the same thing for the Bible. When people, when Spirit told me that the way that people are going to see the Bible is going to shift, interesting. I thought, well, how is that going to happen? It's already written in the Word. And then they taught me about the Mandela effect. Connecting heaven and earth. You don't really, if you don't know all the steps, that's fine. You can't screw it up. It'll help you. This is when other people's energies, you have to learn to observe. But the moment you absorb, now you don't even have to get your attention. You'll just absorb. There's many different layers on that one. But the biggest one is that when it's already happened and you're already absorbing, and you start getting anxiety, or you start picking up, you're supposed to be paranoid, or you're supposed to, and you can feel this tightness in your chest. A lot of people have all this tightness in their chest, and this assemblage point of how you are put together that goes around here, it kind of picks up and reads these energies. Okay, rub your hands together, and then you put them down on your thighs, and usually you stand up for this, but you breathe in, and then you bring your hands together. Okay, you don't have to touch, or you don't have to rub, but some people, doesn't matter, okay? And then you push. Now, when my hands are bent back, meaning as I push up, okay, and then I push down. So it'll look like this. Now you're going to look up towards your hand that you just put up. And you're deliberately stretching this whole area. And then you bring your hands together, and then you, again, stretching. You do that a couple times. Now, if I've gone to the grocery store, I will do it in my mind, just so that I don't look like an idiot. And plus, I'm trying to shop and get out of there. I have to do it in the car, but I just, then once I felt comfortable, and then I'll try. Sometimes I'll start spinning out and I realize that I'm picking people up. You come home, watching TV. Oh, good God. Yes, you have to separate from the TV set too. Now, some people's auras, because we're made of little figure eights, some people's auras are just a little bit different. When that happens, separating or connecting heaven and earth, however you want to call it, there's also the Celtic weave. This is so important because, you can do figure eights in any form, and you can draw them on yourself. But the Celtic weave is like, if you just learn to understand to bring your elbows together and sweep, okay, sweep. Okay, and you do that here, and then you do it over your solar plexus, and you do it over your waist area, you do it over your knees, and you do it over your ankles, and you just sweep, and breathe, because your air, make it flow. Those big figure eights are incredibly changes that aura. I got a stronger aura. I kept picking people up when I was doing, connecting heaven and earth and all this other stuff. And then when I did that, it was like, whoa, I could feel the major difference. And the other thing is that we have an egg that goes around us. One side is the central, and when that's down, you can feel very vulnerable. And then you have it comes up around the back, up in the front, and that is your governing. And when that's down, you can feel very paranoid. And you can get into panic. And if you start to panic, understand that egg's down. You're absorbing. You aren't just observing. Observing is the ability to feel panic out here. Feel the emotion out here. Be aware of it out here. It's not about after it's already absorbed inside of you. If it is, you literally need to do is what neurolinguistics tells you, is to pull it out. Okay? Bring your healthy energy back in. Pull out the stuff. Pushing your finger on your belly button and your forehead. Push in and lift up at the same time. Intentionally breathing. You're electromagnetic. Doing those 2 points actually brings your egg together so that you begin to create this shield around you. Okay? You just start practicing those things and understand that you need to observe out here. Don't absorb in. And when you are absorbing in, when you're not even paying attention and you're focused over here, understand you can buff out that's what is good for Celtic weave, but you can buff it out, push it out. You have to become aware of when your energy changes. No more of this, I don't even know what that word is. They said laissez-faire. I don't look that up later. Okay, now I'm going to look at all these beautiful people. Oh, Nikki says I've been getting anxiety attacks and can't breathe. It's horrible. Then emotions kick in, confusion of making the right choices. But right there, confusion is about how the gallbladder. Oh, you see that feather? The gallbladder meridian is probably not moving, okay? The energy of the gallbladder is that it comes down and up, forward and back, and then it goes across the back, down the sides, across the, in at the waist, and then down in at the knee a little bit, and then you go down and it's off your second toe. And when that energy starts to run backwards, okay, or if it's frozen, then you can't think, you can't make a choice. But that tells me that your energy is hitting that one first. This is just an observation. If I did a reading, it could be the same or completely different. When that happens, I would say you may need to learn how to trace meridians, use a magnet. You know what? We're going to just start with Nikki real quick. And then I will, after Nikki, you're welcome. After Nikki, you say, I know this is there's 12 people. So say, yes, please. And if I see that, then I'll give you a reading. So, Nikki, my dear. We're going to look at how your anxiety, and yes, it has a lot to do with chakras as well. Okay. You have a heart wall. Literally, you have a heart wall. And that is, I can't take any more shit. I don't want to feel it anymore. I'm cutting it off. But if you have made that choice, and they said that you made that choice at 3 years old, that you didn't want to think and feel, what didn't you want? You didn't want to feel people's depression. Okay. Because of this, you put up a wall. Now, that means you will receive the environment differently. Let's go a little bit further. You picked up worry because that's the way I think people learned how to bond, communicate, and love. But it arrested the development. It caused you not to be able to develop certain things in the area. And so your reaction to people that worry really is different. It literally causes resonated energy that if somebody's doing it, you will actually start to morph into what that response. This, if they're supposed to be worried, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And that makes perfect sense. Now, if I said to Spirit, some people that you're around like to control the outcome. They need to control the outcome. And that is where you have to go in and probably remove some of those how you know it type thing. Okay. And it's the 5th chakra for you in the back, in the front. So you feel well, people can't communicate. Next one is, you're welcome, Nikki. Robin. How you doing? It says, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? You have somebody that controls you because they have wounded pride. And what do I mean by control? It's like as soon as somebody has wounded pride, then all of a sudden you will pick it up through your 7th chakra, and it causes you to follow their agenda without realizing it. And so then you're like, okay, and you have to readjust and adapt. And yin energy does this, and it knows how to function. But the reaction is stuck because you felt that way people did that. There's one incident at 8 years old that very much stands out. And it's the way that you interact with the environment. I feel like you were in school at the time that this happened. And disapproval from people caused this. So then you learned how to find a way to adapt and interact with the environment. But you lost yourself in the process because you made that decision so long ago. So you have to unwind that decision and say, I don't want to do that anymore. And you literally need to use a healing tool, a resolving tool that can really address that I don't need to respond that way every time. Hopefully that makes sense. Lisa. Ooh. All I hear is shimmy, shimmy, shake, shake, shake. Get up and shake your booty. So it's like turn it on. They said if you were to put yourself blindfolded, turn on the music and let yourself go, you're going to be connecting so much more deeper with your soul. And because you're already joyful, and that just comes right out. But you'll be able to feel the rhythm move. And in your experience of your holidays, you will be able to allow yourself to feel the new energies. I felt like you have roots that you were tapped into, that you remembered from a past life. But it's allowing yourself to really take in all that stuff that you did and become grounded. And to resonate that energy, because there's a part of you that's beginning to learn how to expand your joy that actually gets people to feel and to change and to light up the room. The habit, you have one in particular that they said that you become very self-conscious. And I think that's why they wanted you to put the blindfold on, is to just let it go, let it flow. And pick something that has a beat. because it's really to tap into those chakras. And if you ever had a drumming done, then you know what I mean by beat. You can feel the vibration. Action. Getting up and taking action in the direction that you want. There's an active memory of 3 years old that actually kind of, I think, stops you from doing certain things. So we'll have to work on that more. Nick, bangs. I can't even. Nicole. My brain. Bangs. Okay. Wait, what? Somebody from the spirit side just come over and just said severe depression. Okay. Now, remember, it's all about how to interpret, but there's this awkwardness that hangs around. And I think you can feel the spirits on the other side. Somehow you're drawing people that are they earthbound? You know, the energies of the people that haven't crossed to the light, it's like the ghost whisperer. There's a part of you that can pick up those that have unfinished business. I don't know if you're aware of this. Her actions, learning the actions. So it's the processes of how things are done so that you can begin to know where you end and they begin and all of this. Those emotions of shame and guilt, half of those aren't even yours, and bringing up thoughts and memories. I feel like in a way you don't know how to separate yourself. If you watched in the beginning how I said to use healing tools, connecting heaven and earth and all that, you have a feeling that clouds your thinking. So you know you have to think their way or you have to feel their way, and they're just telling you that you do that with other people. Other people will, hey, Nicole, you got to act like this. You got to be like this. And so it's more out of a habit that you haven't really figured out who you are and how you're supposed to talk about it. Amy Jensen. Malta. I don't know if it's a place or if it's a candy. Where am I at? I feel like I'm flying in the air. I'm looking at the earth and seeing, you see, so it's like, I don't know if you're taking in more of the majestic aspect of it, and you're beginning to waken up to that, oh wow, this is me and that's them, and so it's, you know, so learning to discern their energies and respecting that's how they choosing to respond, respecting how that's how their belief system is, and you get to see how they put their world. You're beginning to do that fine line of discernment of, oh, that's me and that's them. So you're in a really good stage right now because you don't have to do an automatic response to this is how they act. You're getting to the point where you're going to get a shift, I'm hoping soon, that allows you to sit back and go, huh. And you don't really have to have that response like everybody else is automatically done. You just go, oh, they done what they're, oh. You get to observe it. I feel like you're observing so much more differently, and say thank you, Spirit, and learning how to do this with habit will actually help you grow and not attract the wrong kind of people. Angelo. Mamma Mia. All I can hear is that song. Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. Nobody loves. Okay, so that song, something about there's a repetitive thought that nobody loves me. Okay, it's very toxic. It's a thought. And whether you have experiences that say that's true or not, there are certain, go further, the uncertainty, familiarity keeps you stuck in this state of the word is limbo. You're not able to take that next. I just feel like I'm not stuck. I'm just like going along a bumpy road. They say you have a bell present. Oh, well, what's the bell? Being demoralized. So you are so used to people demoralizing you. So if you were to heal this, you would put your hand on your head, and energetically all that's taking place. But you think bell, demoralized. Bell, demoralized. Oh, bell, demoralized. Now I just felt it shifted me. You can choose to keep your bell, or you can choose to let it go. That's up to you, because it's up on the healing thing. You just say yes, and then do that healing, and it'll change. Sarah Louise. I see a sea of water. It's calming, so it's not. Water represents emotion, so it's not really placid, and it's not overly, stormy. You're certain of the uncertainty. No, you're uncertain of the certainty. So you're getting more sincere certainty. You're feeling more, and you're not sure, because that's not how you used to respond to, like, oh, that's what safety feels like, or oh, that's what that feels like. You're used to the other way around, and you knew how to deal, manage, cope, and you're like, oh, so things are improving in your world. And so they're just saying, changing that habit of how you're supposed to think, so you're supposed to feel uneasy about it. They said, not necessarily. You don't need to really respond that way anymore. It's learning that as you begin to respond, you're going to be developing a new way that's considered right and wrong of, this is how I can be. That little girl in there, they're pointing 1 month old. What are you pointing out? The interaction with the environment. They want you to look at wounded pride. People that have their pride was wounded, because somehow you're observing that part of your life right now, and need to heal that. Nikki May. Oh, did I already do that one? Yes, I did. Okay. Delinda. The spirit side. Somebody wants to give me flowers, but they're hesitant to give. Why are they hesitant to give? They're saying that they're not sure how to approach you. Now, the word agenda has come up. Doesn't mean that you have one, but it's how you operate. It's something to do with how you do things. And so somebody is right there. They're just not sure how to approach you. So why is that? I don't know if you have, because they're pointing to the word depression. It could be just ambivalence. Not sure when people give to you if you know how to feel like you can receive. If you don't know how to really receive, then that can push whoever it is that wants to give to you. Now, I must have been correct to some degree, because now they're like pushing the flowers in my face and say, here. And so somebody out there is trying to figure out how to connect and to give, and they just don't know how to do that. Just be aware that if somebody's trying to give something, don't just say no, that, I don't need it. Just learning that, yes, thank you, like a compliment or a gift, or maybe you're afraid of what. No, it's not about the oh yeah, they got an agenda. No, that's not that. I'm not sure what that is. You'll find it. See, I was going in the row. Amber Lynn, you didn't say whether or not you said yes, please. You just gave me a heart. And for those that are new, yes, please is what I want to hear. So I know that you want one. And Marcy Simmons, I know I'll give you one because I know you want one. Oh, see, Marcy did it down there. Okay. So Marcy, and then we'll go back to Wendy. I understand I'm not skipping anybody. It's just that that's the way the time lag shows up. Paranoia. Marcy. Is the energies down? You've been around people that just have this paranoia talk. I don't think they're even aware. And maybe you need to look and say, notice that this is a pattern that people do. And in the bonding and communication process, do I really want to talk like that anymore? Or do I really want to do that anymore? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's an inherited aspect because they said that this inherited aspect means that people before you have done it. Okay. And the people that before you did it, then that makes a big difference in how it becomes a deep pattern. You need to release it. Feeling very confused. Okay. Just as all you're doing is that you're becoming aware of the way you speak, of where you can lose power, how you speak, whether it's past, present, or future, whether it's paranoia or not, because it's a certain way you're speaking, and they're just saying you're just learning more and more about who you are. Now, we have a paid reading, so that means I'm going to... All right, I'm going to take Wendy first, and then I'll do the paid reading because then it looks like the names are repeating. So Wendy, okay. What about it? Do you resonate with other people's? No. What are you trying to say? Subconscious mind of other people. So getting hooked into the world consciousness, whether you're an activist or you believe a certain way, just remember that there's not just one side, two sides, but there's different perspectives. It's a kaleidoscope. And you are developing your perspectives. And they said, look at another angle, pull it in. Now, it's kind of hard to do sometimes when you're just left brain or right brain, because when you're in those states of mind, then you can totally see that other point of view. But your soul is saying, we want you to look at different points of view so that you can bring in the answers. Because right now, you have the answers, but there's new frequencies coming in that has healthier answers for whatever it is that you're looking at. And they said, old pattern. And these old patterns of people, meaning in the past of how you're supposed to think. Like you're supposed to think Democratic, you're supposed to think Republic, you're supposed to, so it's like one side, but extremes. But they're saying, look at different views, because it's within the answer. It's like religion. This has an answer, this has an answer, this has an answer. But if you were to take and pull them together, you will find the third option answer. So, Amy Jensen Schmalz. I cannot say it, Schmalz. All right, my dear. Now, where'd Amy go? Lost my Amy. Okay. After Amy, if anybody else wants a paid reading, it's $11 for 11 minutes, and that's a good deal. It's half price. And you get more in depth, and we can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And Amy, if you wanted to call me, then that's an option so people can hear. I don't know. I'm assuming people will be able to hear you. And let's see. Clear your mind. Mine? No. Okay, so Amy, what is it that you said that you just continue? Just continue. Okay. We can do that. Now, I feel like, just going to take a second. Somebody or something is trying to come through to communicate. Before I get any further, understand this isn't about just tarot. You're talking about spiritual growth. You're talking about right now somebody's paying for a reading, and what it is I'm reading your energy. It's in your aura. It's all the entanglement cords of everything you've experienced, to what you experienced, what your decisions were, what your beliefs are, what your emotions are, and what it looks like, and it keeps repeating into your future. So things that you can look at, address, and to heal so that you can move forward. What would stop you and block you? What emotions control you? What owns you? All right, we'll see you later, Danny. Wonderful. Okay, so, and like I said, anybody new here, if you want a reading, just say yes, please. Okay. When the screen goes fast, if I can see just those words, because if there's too many words, So, this paid reading. We're still waiting. From what? Amy, what are we waiting for? Are you here, sweetheart? I just want to make sure. I like that camaraderie, that be able to talk back and forth, that reciprocity, to be able to really connect. So when I'm reading you, especially if you're paying, then you can really get in depth of what it is. So who are we waiting for? Or what are we waiting for? Who's me? Now, I don't know. This person has come across as a sister figure. And it's interesting because they're floating. And so are you fresh? No. You're unclear of how to come through. Oh, that would make sense. So you're learning your abilities. You've never really communicated with people like me. Okay. Never really thought about it. Okay, that's good to know. All right. So I don't know. You have a sister figure on the other side. So you can either, we can work together, so you can tell me yes, no, what's going on. Oh, it's weird. All right, so you can't come through very well. But what can you do? What you want to provide? Okay, you do. So they want to participate in this. So we're going to do that. She's pointing to a hidden heart wall. Okay, and it's when we put up those walls. And this wall you've hidden from yourself, and you were about 3 years old. And they said that you had a psychic trauma, meaning you felt more than one or more than two emotions at once, simultaneously. And here you felt 4 emotions. Okay, so now I'm going to need a piece of paper, because if you'd like a healing, say yes to this, and then we'll start to remove the psychic trauma. So you got 4, and you got a hidden heart wall. So that'll have to start to be removed. But we can't remove the heart wall until we address those 4. The first one is guilt. Now, how a person has a psychic trauma is that there can be 20 people in the room, and if 4 people are feeling the same or different emotions, but strongly at the same time, and you're open to it, you'll take them on. Or even one person can be feeling many emotions at once. Agenda of others. Oh, okay. Anger. So you got guilt, anger. Where are we going? Uncertain habit. What are we doing here? So we got another story going on. I got two spirits talking at once. That's usually not allowed. I don't know why you're doing that. Stop it. All right, so I'm just going to write uncertainty. So this is what's happened. They're showing me this is what happened. There's too many things going on at once. You had too many instructions going on. So you have an uncertain uncertainty. Give me a second. This is no wonder you hit. Okay. You felt the people's depression. So somebody came to you that was that emotionally depressed, and they were giving you that negative feedback. All right, so that's who that person came from. So 2B is hopelessness. So the person that was depressed, you got hopelessness. The person that you knew had an agenda, they had the anger. And you said there was one more, right? Yes, and that is disdainfulness. Disdainfulness. That's interesting. So yes, I lost her. Yes, his sister. Oh, really? Okay. All right, ready? As we pull it further. Now, we have to look at this. We want this removed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you have your hand or refrigerator magnet, whatever you feel comfortable with. And this is how many times you want it removed? Just 3. Okay, so we say hidden heart wall, psychic trauma, guilt, anger, and we have guilt, anger. I'm stuck on the emotions, disdainfulness, and hopelessness. There we go. Hidden heart wall. Wow, that energy is strong. It's very strong. Okay, so you get focused. Spirit says anytime you want to do this. So it is hidden heart wall, guilt, anger, hopelessness, disdainfulness, psychic trauma of guilt, anger, hopelessness, disdainfulness, hidden heart wall, guilt, anger, hopelessness, disdainfulness. Well, this has been your identity for so long that this psychic trauma has helped you have this identity. Now it's shifting. So it created the identity of worthless, and then so people then would receive you as, oh God, did you see the way she looks? Or it would be pointing out like flaws that you don't have, but they made you believe you had them. Do you understand what I'm saying? You would get people that came to you in your space and say shit like that because they were envy of how easy flowing love was coming to you. So it was a disrupt pattern. It's not that they're evil. It's just that this is just how they wanted what you had. So it was easier just to discourage you, thinking that would help them get love. But in turn, it created low self-esteem within you. And so you would stay outside your means. So really your standard of living was over here, but because of that incident, you'd go, nope, and then you'd stand up here and take less. And you didn't need to take less because there was more than enough. And people didn't need to take your share because it's yours. But these emotions have really affected you in a way that, again, is said this is how you're supposed to present yourself in life, is to be worthless. So that is it needing to be changed. Now, when you're ready to really remove that, here we go. If it's removed, okay, then the energies have shifted into your favor. Now, this can take up to 48 hours, maybe up to 72 for you. But they said, notice how by stepping back and saying, oh, you can have it, that's self-abuse. So if you're not giving yourself a sense of self-abuse out of, let's say you have to have like 80, how much do you need? About 65% every day of some type of abuse, whether you give it to yourself or you project somebody to do it to you, that has to be fulfilled. Does that make sense? So your automatic response, just as you answer, communicate, bond, you're throwing out laissez-faire words, whatever. You're just throwing them out as an automatic response. And they said, be more cautious of it, because what you're saying is supporting you to stay in that old habit when you don't need to, especially since the healing started taking place in you. You have to catch yourself, and you have to stop yourself. And even if you catch yourself an hour later, go, shit, I just made myself worthless. Well, I would say write down words that you know, or phrases or response that are linked to that. And then when you say it, you can catch yourself, even if it's after the fact, and you can tap it out, or you can flip the script. Flipping that script is very simple. When you begin to understand, you can change the words into, okay, well, if you had an example of, yeah, no, they're changing their thoughts. Hold on, they said that you got to stop changing your thoughts. They said you become very indecisive just so that other people will be happy. So there's something to do with the facial expression per se, or just the tone of the voice causes you to do this pattern. And then you take your will and you, I'm not going to make the choice of doing this. And so and again, you're no longer serving you to be this way. They said that these are just habits, and you literally need to disrupt the habits. So when you do it, you can EFT it out, you can tap it out, you just even this point here, place your hand over your heart and just, and just look around, looking for that feeling. And it's usually in the moment. It's called facing after you did a healing. It'll present itself. But the more you become aware, you can go, but I don't need to respond like that. Even though you can feel the emotion control you, you can then use tools to resolve those emotions out. And then you can show up differently. Like, I was afraid to say something to somebody, and I could feel it. And so I'm like, oh, shit, I'm facing, because I just healed that. And so then I went and I did some, I use hope therapy. And all of a sudden, the emotions shifted. And then my voice came back, and I said, hey, and I said it so completely different, because that's not what I was thinking. I said, I'm just going to go out, and I'll be back. And the answer came back surprisingly not what it usually is. It was very supportive. It was like, whoa. And it was because I faced that emotion that always said I had to think this way, feel this way, be this way. So you're growing. Now, the sister form says, I'm going to be coming to you more because I'm learning, meaning they're learning the ability. I don't understand why she has no feet. I think it's because she can't vibrationally. She should have no problem, but in her mind, I think she is. She has been coming to you to some degree. She's been giving you little messages. Oh, for other people. Oh, okay, cool. But you're panicking because you're wrong. You think you're wrong. So that worthlessness is saying you're wrong. Develop who you are. Develop and get rid of that panic. Get it out of there, because you're more right than you ever thought. Okay? Oh, very good. All right. I'm just going to double check to make sure nobody else is paid. Let me come back. Now, Leon, you don't want a reading? because he asked if somebody else wanted a reading. So Candace, I'm not sure what's happening because whatever screen it is, this is just going through a Facebook Live. And what I do, you have to listen to the words because it's a lot about emotions, a lot about thoughts, and how we function as a human being and how we can change that. Okay, good. Yeah, remember the word, try to think yes, please. But I'll take, you're welcome, Amy. So underneath, see, all I got, the last person that wrote was Pam, almighty voice. She said, me, please. Okay. Yes, please. I'll give you a reading for a minute and a half. Anybody else that hasn't had one, say it now so that I can see it on my screen. Okay. So let me get this. I got to get a different timer so it doesn't have to make all these noise. I haven't even touched it here. Can you hear me now? So Pam, can you hear me now? And you got anxiety speaking. Really, the emotion is going to speak? And the anxiety is saying, hey, I'm supposed to make you feel disgraceful and disapproved of and guilt. And these are the people that condemn you. And so why do you want them? I mean, why is the soul doing that? Because in the relationship aspect of bonding, it's the I-it factor. Like when I'm communicating with you and we're, hitting it off, it's an I-you. I include you, I respect you. And I-it would be, I'd look over you and maybe talk to your friend. Or I see you as an object. I don't care. There's no empathy or kindness. Okay. You have met people that did an I-it to you. And so when that occurs, you then end up attracting people that comes in that treat you as an I-it. And so then you have to be stronger, do things, and because that's your audience. And it's hard for you. So when was this? You learned this at 4 years old. And they said that 4 years old, there was an awkwardness feeling that it started to begin the whole thing because you began to become aware when you were not connected as an IU. Teresa Perkins. Okay, Leon, I will for Roger. Yeah, okay. But Teresa, because, okay, yes, please. All right. Teresa Perkins. Why do I want chocolate chip cookies? Oh, it's like having a memory. Like I'm supposed to have a memory of fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. There's something that sparks a particular emotion. And they're saying that it is about sharing and the spontaneous. And now I see, like, if you were joking and you decided, oh, I'll take all the cookies and you get to have one. And it was a playfulness. But somebody said that you were a bad child, that they didn't quite get your humor. There was something that, and it hurt. It like branded you. It like you had to become a good girl and you're like, oh, I can't do that again. And somehow I feel like your humor was shut down because it was misunderstood. And your humor part of you wants to pop up. It wants to develop, and you've learned to be sarcastic to yourself as a form of humor. This is what they're saying. So be done with that. You don't need to, because your audience shouldn't be, if they're not supporting you and loving you, you need to find a different audience. But you first have to find you to allow that. And yeah, it may have been your story for so long, but Do you want it to own you anymore? You can grow out of that story. Okay. So for Leon, for Roger Holloway, okay? And then we'll go from there. Okay. And then Tammy and then Megan. Roger. Wow, all of a sudden the picture, as soon as I said your name, it's like, whew, it's like your chair just went whew, so far away. You distance yourself, I think, from, what do you distance yourself from? From people that make you feel irrelevant. So this projection of not being even able to comment for yourself is the example. So what age are we going for? So at 4 years old, you were experienced of having been irrelevant. So it doesn't matter what you say or how you participate. It doesn't matter. So this is why you're able to talk to, at least through somebody. And Leon says, so that was able to help you be seen. Do you have a voice? Yes. Is it heard sometimes? No. What do you want him to know is that the reason that happened is because the person that was in your space became emotionally hysterical. They kind of left a bad taste in your mouth where, and I do mean bad taste because we are a sensory system being and the way that people connect. And so it's hard for you to want to really fully commit or connect to that because you're waiting for the next hysterical moment, the next shoe to drop, the next aspect to drop. You have pictures. They said that in your right brain, you've got pictures that are very much like a GPS. You're typing it in. These pictures kind of redirect, so it lines up. No matter what you want, that lines up, and that's what you get first. I'd say you definitely need to clear out that those pictures and clear out how the taste of connection is, because that is a filter that gets in your way. Tammy Denton. What? There's too many words. All of a sudden, it's like many, mirror, munchkin. You got too much. Is that the way you're trying to point out? Is too much? Too much, yes. Too much of thoughts. Too much jumbled thoughts. Too many stories. So you have a story here, a story here, a story here, and somehow they're kind of intertwining. So sometimes, you just saying scrambled? No. Crossed? No. This is what creates an indecisiveness in you, because you have an answer here that worked. You have an answer here that worked. You have an answer here that worked. They're saying that these answers are like for the same question, but instead of usually what a person will get is usually one correct way of doing it. You've accumulated several different ways of doing it, and your program in your body is saying, well, I just don't know which one. I know these worked. And so it will take over, and then all of a sudden what will happen is you will get into a state that you can't make a decision. So you make an undecision, and then you need to make a decision. So I feel like your motivation keeps changing sometimes. And they're saying that this habit, what about it? Creates you to become a stalemate. In other words, some people think the word failure, but the way I look at failure is a step to the next step that you need. Oh, yeah, that didn't work. Let's go to the next one. But I think that is just like stalemate. You stop. Okay. Megan Johnson. Megan. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Look at me. This is what I'm hearing. It's like this is what's in your environment. So do you have a thought for yourself? You can have those, but when you're around people, that's hard for you to have your own thought, because you have this voice that you learned a long time ago that actually directs you to have to listen to something or somebody else. You got to kick those thoughts out. You got to kick those people out of your head, because They are, okay, guilt. So you feel like you become under pressure. You have to live a certain way. And if you don't, guilt comes in, redirects you. This voice will come in, redirect you. But the under pressure means that you don't get to live as your identity, your true identity, what the creative aspect of yourself, that part of you that you want to be. So because you're so used to taking action, that it's become such a pattern, and it just feels old. It's like, oh, it's like you're, enough's enough. I'm done with it. And it literally feels like it's dragging your feet. You're like, oh my God, and you look back and you're grateful for everything. Why wouldn't you? But then you're like, oh God. And it's like it's like what you carved out for who you are. It wasn't you that used your knife to carve it. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, didn't jump. Don't jump. KK Williams. KK Williams. Wow, I don't understand. There's a frosted glass in front of my face. It's like smoky glass. It's like there was a fire and smoke left a mark on the glass. And it's like even when you clean it off to look through, there's another film. It's like you can't see certain things. There's something that you're not able to see. And so it creates a distrust feeling, like, what's out there? The familiarity is to distrust. So you're taking that in, and you're like, oh, I'm going to know what I'm going to go with what I know, and something about 5 years old. There was a type of a disgrace or something that happened, and you witnessed it, and you're involved in it, and somehow it still controls the way that wow, there's a smell now. So were you in a fire or something? But you're not able to focus. You're not able to. There's literally film, and there's residue, and there's stuff that literally stops you from seeing your life. Yeah, something about changing the story so that you don't have to see that right now in this present moment. I'm not sure if I can tell you that, Delinda, but let's find out. And she asked, could you tell me if my friend Sabrina was murdered? First off, I heard no, but that doesn't mean much of anything when they do a yes, no. So no, yes. With that, in case I don't have those cards, I need to buy them. So give me a deck it's too much. Just a second here. So the card that came up that just flew out was the Earth is our school. So what does that mean is that when the spirits tell you certain things, there's something you need to learn. So whether this person was murdered or not, the soul has exit points, okay? But I feel like this is part of the journey you're supposed to do. And the person says that this is not a yes and no because it's meant to be a journey, because they said that I will always point you in the right direction. So there's a part of you that's supposed to be some type of a detective, and you need to develop a particular part of yourself. That's what they're trying to say is important, is for you to The other card is, if I had only known then what I know now, I would have lived differently. Okay? Now, that's what they meant by a yes and no and no and yes, because in our minds, it's supposed to be a definite. But when our soul raises his hand and says there's a part of it, there's a journey, then it's stuff that you have to develop and learn to get to wherever it is that you chose you needed to go. So there's a whole development process going on. I am sorry I can't give you what you want, but yeah, sorry. I just wish it could be a yes and no. Patricia, the beautiful part of this is that you can watch this anytime. You can find it on my fan page, or you can just go to YouTube. You go to YouTube and find Medicine Woman for You, and the number 4, the letter U, and or just put Brenda Power Medicine Woman, and you can go to the YouTube channel and watch it again. Linda says, Linda Jerry Collins, my husband passed. Would love to hear from him. It's been 2 years and can't let go. And can 2 years and can let go or can't let go? I'm not sure exactly. We're just gonna see. Okay, what I heard is that you have to clear your mind because there's a particular emotion that keeps blocking that signal, and there's something about when you're laying in bed at night. I see if you're blocking it, you may not even notice it, but there's a smell of like freesia, or there's a smell. There's a particular smell that will come through, and it's not something that he would have, but something that he thought of you. So there's a certain smell. It's like your own perfume or something. It's like it's intentionally trying to many different ways of trying to. It's weird because it's like if you find a mint on your pillow. Okay, there's little clues that's there. He says, "Hey, I'm not dead." The physical body may not be present, but what I've learned is that I've had many people die on me, but when I've learned to use the resolving tools, to take those emotions, the pain, to resolve those out, okay? A chemical peptide just wiggles and jiggles and makes you feel and go into these thought patterns, and when you use healing tools, it calms that. We're electromagnetic beings, and that energy comes, and our blood is electromagnetic. Our hands are, and putting just our hands on our head like this, the front lobe creates reality. And when the blood comes back up, especially when you're stressed and you're having this, you're touching an emotional point. This is a liver meridian that helps process those chemical peptides. The blood comes back in the frontal lobe. While you're thinking and feeling of the pain, one of the things that can happen is you begin to calm down. Okay? All the other wonderful things that happened is that your thought processes become quieter. The emotion doesn't control you. And then you get to link back up to spirit and through your heart. And you begin to not have those emotional filters that are going to stop you from hearing, okay? I've lost. Oh, you didn't. Oh, stop. We're going to look at Autumn Drown. Emotion. A person says, would love extended direction, please. Now, what's funny is that even though it says extended direction, I picked up the the deck of the romance tells you that you have to heal family issues, okay? And that can be very simply put to just come forward. The family issues, there is some anxiety that came from it without realizing it. When you go to go into the direction you want, it's like part of the strategy. To get here, you have to go through anxiety. There's a part of you that has to go through self-consciousness, not the right and wrong, but I'm self-conscious of myself. Those little tiny steps will pop in, and they will actually stop you in the direction you're going. So they're telling me that there's stuff that's stopping you. You've also learned within that is to distrust yourself, because somebody told you made the wrong decision, and it was actually just that decision that you needed that actually helped propel you into another direction, and it's the healthier direction you're supposed to go. They said let go of self-loathing, and these are the things you can pick up from your family without realizing it. Oh, wow. So KK says, my grandmother died in the house fire, and I was 7. Oh, Matthew. Oh, you're from Australia. So am I. All right, put that down. Matthew. Oops, didn't clear. Which way should I go? Which way should I go? Well, let's find out. You're not happy with this? No. There's a certain format you're used to. I don't know what that is, but I shut the timer off just for a second because I've got to. You have a very strong male figure here. Big chest. Big chest. Big chest. Does that mean it comes with a deep voice too? Hold your gird up. I don't know what that is. They're saying you're not finding the beauty. Now this word is, it doesn't have to be the beauty. It's a beauty. There's a beauty of this, of doing something. Is it to do something? To be something. What are you saying? Okay, do you need to throw them on the floor? Oh, I can't read yet. There's something that needs to be addressed. So the beauty card came up in reverse, okay, and the healing card came up in reverse. So there's something that they're saying that you need to address. So this is why I picked up this book in the first place. So your nervous system, the way that it processes, well, you have an indecisive manner. Ooh, no. You don't like indecisive people. They drive you nuts. Guess what? The timer quit. Aren't they cute? Chakra. Second chakra. Back, front, feeling. Feeling in the relationships. Feeling in your relationships that there's an act-mean process. Do they? It looks like. Received as. So you received as that how you do certain things is that you've acted mean. So some people have received you as that you act mean. And sometimes you feel helpless because that's not the intention from your direction. And without realizing it, there's a party that feels wounded, feels, what do you want to call like a wounded pride. It hurts. So you just take it personally, like, but that's not, so it doesn't have to be dramatic. So sometimes you go to approach people, there's a party that's like, it's just going to happen again. So it's like a panic to some degree. I feel like you're really mellow, so these words are not as dramatic as with some people. And so then it's a certain meridian is frozen in you. What I'm going to tell you is that in order to shift you, is you get a magnet, a refrigerator magnet, a very simple refrigerator magnet, okay? And so it has both sides available. This point here on both wrists, right in the middle, I need you to swap this back and forth. This controls your circulation sex meridian, which is about circulation, and it's about the hormones of the reproductive system. And it's kind of frozen. It's not moving. So when you go to this, this is the pericardium. This is what sits around the heart, and it affects the way that you think. So, and then after you've done that, just rub. Do about 30 times on that spot. Okay. This is going to help open that up, send energy directly into that circulation system around the pericardium. Your right side seems to be a little bit more sore than the other. Okay, Leah. Layfield. Leah. Layfield. Layfield. Would you like a reading? I'm not really seeing that you said yes, please. And so I'm not sure whether you do. I feel like you do, but I need you just to confirm that because I don't want to overstep my boundaries. KK Williams, what do I do? What do I need to really do? I'm suffering from life right now. Okay, so when emotions are doing this, you can either set up and make an appointment with me, and then we can just go and use emotions, healing tools. So when you're telling me something, or I'll say, okay, these emotions, like right now, if you were to learn how to do hope therapy, and they said that, yes, you are suffering right now, and there's a particular word of expecting people to be there for you, okay? And then the other emotion is overtime hopelessness. So you just are constantly seeing this same result no matter what you do. And it hits the insecurity, and then it goes over to lack of what? Lack of power to feel like you can change it. And it's just like you're stuck. I mean, it does feel like it's drowning. And if I said, okay, well, we're going to work on this, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to hold R2D. That is, R represents the right wrist. Okay, second position, first, second, third. There's only 3. And the second position, you put your thumb there, you push in deep, D, R2D, D represents deep. You put your finger here and you do this. If you were to just do this and keep staying in that spot and feel those feelings, how you know your life right now, hold that point, right to D, okay? Put it on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 meaning, oh my God, yes. Stay there. Don't take your hand down. Notice your thoughts. Notice those feelings. Get into them. Witness them. Then it's going to come down. The thought processing begins to change. Then chemical peptides calm down. And you literally begin to feel different. And you come back and you say, well, it's a 10. Oh, it does feel different. And they're saying that you hold more of the issues of your life in your right eye. I mean, literally, I would do eye processing. Okay? I would say, okay, when you look through the right eye, look at your life. Oh my God, this issue is a fat fucking 10. Okay, and I'd say remove, transcend, let it go. I mean, and then you'd switch, and then you'd go, that's still 10. Remove, transcend, let it go. And literally, you're learning to look at your life through only one eye at a time. And when you address it again, and we say just remove, transcend, let it go, and you're switching back over, you're just starting noticing the numbers changing. You're like, how's this happening? Because it's a picture. Remove, transcend, let it go. And then you just keep going back and forth. And eventually, we keep doing that until it hits 0 on both sides. The emotional chemical peptide is pulled out of that filter of the eye. That you can calm down. Thank you, Lisa. Oh my gosh, leukemia. PSD. Oh yeah. You have to understand that One session may not be enough, but one session can do wonders. But it's the layers, and we start pulling it out. Yeah, Lisa is done a couple already, and she's amazingly growing. Whew, leaps and bounds. Ah, that feels good. Yes, and then see, and I love it because Robin just said to Linda, I'm wishing you a positive life, blessings. Prayers, receive it. People pray all the time with love. And you may not believe it, but when people think nice things about you, it goes up on that bandwidth for you. And you just have to tap in and say, thank you, I received the love from people. People you don't even know. We'll be sitting there and going, oh yeah, I saw that woman today. And just sends out love. You don't know, but just be open to it. I get fully charged because I know that people love me, right? And sometimes when I feel too human, or too ego-y, thank you, and I just open up and I receive, and then you can begin to notice it will begin to wash over you, and then you're like, oh yes, I can choose a better emotion besides the one I have right now. It makes a big life difference. I just noticed that my dress has holes in it, so I'm having moth issues. And so that means I'm going to have to get those stinky moth balls. I had cedar balls and other little things, but for some reason, I didn't even get to wear this dress very often. I guess I feed the animals, don't I? That's okay. You guys, I'll do this last person, and then I will be here tomorrow night. Remember that. And any feedback, if you think you hear things, if I like the color, it suits me more. I got rid of the pink. It was too not me. The purple, I love these colors, but it just didn't blend with the backdrop. And yeah, I don't really I have nature and spirit as my religion, because you got Buddha here that has to do with just that, connecting with that spirit. Jesus here. People want to come. So you got mind, body, soul, all these good things. You want a paid reading, I only offer the 1111, which is 50% on the show, and I'll be on here tomorrow. You can pay ahead of time if you want, and then we can set it up, and then I can just do the readings in the beginning, however you want to do it. But if you, after the show, the 15 minutes for $30, or the more time you get, the cheaper it goes. But don't just sit there and suffer. You are meant to be connected to your joy, and suffering is just an option. Trust me, I have had many struggles that they don't own me. Is that Renata Romanos? That's a lot of R's. Renata. Okay. Free and clear. What do you mean by this? Your energy is there. You have a lot of you have an invisibility cloak on, so sometimes people don't really see you the way that you want to be seen, and so then the energy, your aura is so sucked in, especially around the fourth chakra and the third and the second. So like from here on down, the energy is sucked in. When we're nervous, scared, anything negative, it'll get sucked in. And if we're paranoid or panicked, then sometimes our energies go way out, and then they suck in other people's energies. We got to learn how to control our aura, and so that we don't have to go through the extremes. There's something that you want a particular outcome to occur, but they're saying that the emotion of inadequacy from a long time ago, and other people's inadequacies, actually kind of tell you how you should feel, be, and act, and then the outcome changes, and you feel like you don't have any control. You're like, how did that happen? Because I wanted to do this, but then this ended up happening. And it's just the way that you learn to interact with the environment. So your energy auras. I mean, you can just, the weird part about an aura is that you can think positive things, and it can expand it out. You can even direct to, you know, so if your energy's out, you start pulling it back, and it can go the length of your arm. Okay, so just think that's how big your aura can be, and you don't have to go out too much farther. And if you have if it's too far in, and you can just push it out to meet your hands, you can fluff your aura. Okay, you know, just tend like dancing. Okay, you're scooping, and you can go up over, do figure eights in it, and just, you know, fluff it out. Imagination, intention is everything. You really can learn how to handle and cope, deal, and manage and pacify. You can go in and allow yourself to heal in such an incredible way. Oh, Jasmine. Hi, sweetheart. I'll be here tomorrow night. Jasmine, do you want to just a quick real read before I go? I said I was going to, so I'll just do, haven't seen your name in a while. I haven't seen you in a while. So if you do, just say yes, and then I'll do that. But there's a lot of healing tools in here today. You want more healing tools, you just go to, until I can pay for it. So the more I collect money from doing my shows, the more I can get my website up. But don't type in www. That don't work. You have to type in medicine woman, the number 4, and the letter U, .weebly, WEBLY.com, and then you get to go to my old site, and look under healing, and then healing tools, and you'll see a whole drop down menu. I got to update all those, but there's a lot of good stuff, especially when people throw you under the bus and just take your energy away, and you're like, oh my God. And it's called pick yourself up off the floor. Something that shocks you, and your energy just dumps. It's an amazing thing, because poof, when I learned that one, somebody just took and told me this is how my life's going to be, and told me I could not have this, and I'm like totally shocked that I thought I was supposed to be received with love, and they were just beating me up with words and nastiness, and that my energy just poof, and I literally felt energy swirl out and go to them. I'm like, why the hell am I giving them my energy? And then I looked down, and I saw the sea of my colors on the ground, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And so then I had to scoop it up. That didn't work. But then when all of a sudden it's like, I looked and I noticed the color. I just started bringing the color back in, because it was already clean. It was just dumped on the floor. But then I thought, what if my parent, I was like, what if I take? No, you just imagine a purple heart with dancing violet flames. Pull your energy through that entanglement cord back into your body, and you will feel where it's missing. Black is even a color, and it's very supportive. And then when all of a sudden there's nothing left on the floor, you'll begin to feel different, think different, and act different, and you'll get some of your strength back. Not some of it, you'll get your strength back. You'll be amazed. You're all welcome. Remember, if you share this to other people, groups other than that, when I look up in the share thing, I will give you a card. And if you hit the love button, then on top, you know, the like, love, and all that, you get a card. So, you know, you may have received a reading today, but you can get extra things. If you're new to me, then I'll give you a card. But you can only go through the video here. But then you want to look at it again. You know, it comes to your inbox, and I think to notifications, I think that's what it's called. Hit like, and you get notified. I do 2 shows a week, and other things are happening. Hopefully someday I'll be able to get on Instagram too. I'm there. I just can't make any of the videos at this point. Well, you guys have all been wonderful. And just duly note that I will see you again next week at this time, or if you show up tomorrow night, which is 9 o'clock South Australian time. So I can't remember how that goes for people that are in another state. Thank you again for everything. You give me purpose, and I appreciate that. So thanks for receiving me. And I'm going to help you learn how to get past your struggles and do it with such a wonderful way to get connected who you truly are. Okay? All right. One of the things I always say is stay blessed.